Your future depends on your nervous system, not a chance encounter, not a lucky break, not a strategy, none of that. It's just what you decide to do with what you are given right now, creating the deep connection to yourself and your core values so that you can create most authentically, first and foremost for yourself and then the world. That is only made possible when we tend to our nervous system. Without understanding what is happening in our somatic experience of life, we are bound to be distracted by all of the flashes of society, the glimmer and the glitz of what we're told we should want, the direction we should head, and what everyone else is doing. But chances are what everyone else is doing isn't what you crave. And maybe what you crave can't quite even be put into a form yet because it's still unfolding and being created as we speak. So I want to resource you with an understanding of why it's so important to drop all of the bullshit narratives that are keeping you stuck in the past and the ones that are projecting you out into the future so that you can really create your deepest sense of aliveness now via your nervous system. And if you're new here, why you should listen to me at all, you don't have to. But I help ambitious creatives get into their bodies, and that's something I'm a stand for because it's changed my life many times over as someone who's lived numb from the neck down and always felt separate from the life that I craved to live. Most creatives fill the future with all of these shoulds. What I should do, what I should have done to get there, why I should be there now but I'm not, what I'm going to do once I blankety blank blank, right? We live everywhere other than here, and our nervous system and our body doesn't quite know what to make of that dilemma. When we're constantly in our mind, we are separating from the tangible, real experience of life that we are having. The power of the subconscious has it that we can create whatever sort of reality in our mind that we want and produce the same hormones, chemicals, and physiology as if it were happening. The problem is we tend to do that in the negative. We tend to doom loop our fears and insecurities and create the very visceral, real experience of them in our bodies now. But it's scary to feel that, so we have to learn to numb ourselves. So we learn to shut down our connection from the neck down. We learn to just normalize a state of constant dysregulation and deal with the lack of sleep, the bad digestion, the relationships that aren't quite fulfilling. The list goes on. I'm speaking harsh because if you are anyone, especially creative, that knows what you are capable of and yet is not quite living in that alignment of the life that you crave, this is what it takes to return to your power, to be in your body, and to create from depth. And it's not easy work, right? But that's why so few people are living with such radical conviction to their values, are wealthy and abundant and authentic all at the same time. Most people might have one, but they don't have all three, right? And I'm interested in how I can cultivate all three and how I can also hold space via my own understanding of what's true for me and what I've learned about my own body and nervous system and own creative expression so that others can hopefully be impacted by that as well. That's the best that we can do, right? And so without a deep commitment to knowing that it's even possible, we are only going to have the template of, I need to abandon myself to be successful. I need to suppress what my nervous system is screaming at me. And I need to do what everyone else says I should do in order to be successful or abundant, whatever it is that you crave, whatever that adjective is, right? But to first expand into the visualization and actually the feeling in your body of what it would be like for you to be grounded, centered, connected to yourself, to be creating from that place in a way that makes you come alive, that you're excited to wake up to every single day, and to be well received in the world. All of that is possible. Think of a small way that that's happening to you already in your life. Whether that be the way that your best friend greets you, or your lover sees you in the morning, or the way that you show up for your sports team, or whatever it is. The way that you can be committed to your values, have your heart open, give, and be well received. Those are the steps and the ingredients, right? But how do we create a fortified nervous system and connection to ourself that we can root into as we navigate all of the turbulence of life's inevitables, right? Your best friend's dog dies. You get into a car crash, God forbid, someone, you lose your debit card, whatever the fuck happens, right? Whatever the things are that throw you for a little dysregulation loop. And the more that we have our own deep process of self-connection and feeling what's alive for us, the better we are set up to stay in that sweet spot of connection, love, and creation, which is what's creating your future. Most people mistake the future for some moment that's way out there, when in reality you are connected to it now because you're only ever where you are. And eventually there will be here, tomorrow will be now. And so you cannot drop the ball. You have to stay in the game, and you have to play it for the long run. You got to play the long game of, how can I create an everyday experience of being in my body that brings me joy to be alive regardless of my circumstances? How can I find pleasure in the anger, in the grief, in all of the stickiness, in all of the confusion, and all of the indecision? How can I stay connected to myself through all of that? Nervous system regulation isn't being peaceful, calm, and meditative all the time. It's simply, how can I stay connected to myself, and how can I consciously respond to the world around me? That's it, right? It's gonna naturally fluctuate. You're gonna get dysregulated. You're gonna get thrown into these sort of cravings to just unconsciously react, to shift to the old program, to abort mission, whatever it is, right? But your capacity to be rooted in yourself, your values, and your connection, and to really be able to identify what's happening in your body is what's going to set you up to navigate the world with purpose, clarity, confidence, and direction, right? But it's hard work. But we see the lack of that in our culture. We see so many people that lack purpose, especially men. We see so many creatives who don't have clarity, who don't feel confident, who don't feel connected, yet are feverishly trying to chase virality on Instagram, or their big lucky break, or this lottery winning mindset that at one day everything's finally going to happen. And it's not today, but I guarantee you that someday it's going to happen, and I won't have to take responsibility for doing the deep, awkward work to get there. It's just going to happen. I'm here to say that as much as I hope that for you, that's not what you want. You want to see what you're made of. You want to express yourself through all of the thick and thin, the happy and crappy, the sunshine and the shit, right, of life, to see what you're capable of. And don't get me wrong, there's so many days where I just want to check out. I want to numb. I want to disconnect from myself, because it seems so much easier to just live life that way. To just not really give a damn about being in my integrity. To just have a basic 9-to-5 that doesn't make me come alive, and live for the weekends. There's nothing wrong with that, but my value system currently needs more depth than that. And so accepting the challenge of becoming all that I can be is going to lead me through all of that uncomfortable terrain. It's going to walk me to my fears. It's going to walk me to the deep, dark emotions that I don't want to feel. It's going to confront me with anger and grief that is in my system that sucks, even though it feels so juicy and delicious To willingly embrace that takes a lot of curiosity, right? And being able to embrace that head on, to be connected to yourself. Again, I know I'm a broken record. That is what's going to enable you to finally do the things that you want to be living in accordance with the values you believe in, so that you give yourself the best foot forward, the most open, high heart to create magnificently, magnetically, and abundantly. And all of that is only made available when you are here right now in your body, which is the scariest place to be, right? Because then you have to feel. You're vulnerable, you're exposed, you're open, right? You know, it's easy to live a numb life because you don't have to fucking feel anything. And life's hard. You can be guaranteed of that. But that's what makes it so juicy and delicious. And how much more juicy and delicious when we are alive. We're connected to our body, and we actually have an understanding of how our body responds and filters the world around us, i.e., the beauty of your nervous system, right? For me, that was always the missing key. I was so intellectual and I was so ultra spiritual, but I didn't know what it was like to actually be in my body. And the nervous system started to give me that data and evidence of where I wasn't free, where I could cognitively believe something, but I'm operating on an old program of when I was 11 years old and I was an angsty teen who didn't feel good enough, who just wanted to feel valued, and nobody saw. You know? So all of that to say, your future truly depends on the state of your nervous system now and your level of connection to yourself. Because without reverence, compassion, and deep connection, you aren't going to feel alive. You aren't going to feel attuned to what you need, what you crave, and where your power lives. So you aren't going to be able to create with the most meaning, right? You might find some short-term success, some break, some moment of authenticity, but no real lasted, grounded depth and presence to you and through you, your work. And that's the only place, as far as I'm concerned, that sustainable success and wealth becomes available to you as a creative. And that's what I'm devoted to helping y'all create. I'm figuring it out for myself. I'm not your guru. I'm not someone who makes $1 billion a year. I'm someone who's discovering the power of rooting into my core values and giving from that place. And how when I do that, that can sustain my life. That can be the vessel where I'm sleeping and I'm still impacting you. My value is still extending out into the world and it's being reflected back to me. And I want everyone to experience that. And so you can start that journey by checking out the Embodied Creator Toolkit. It's a resource to help you get into your body, to run experiments, to find out what brings you more alive, what brings you more understanding and connection to yourself so that you can create more meaningfully. And then I also want you to sign up for the newsletter, because that's a great free resource that is going to leave you with a deeper sense of how you can navigate the world from your core, not from your mind. So thanks for being here. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Ciao.